welcome to ONTV News. I'm Jessie Agnew. Over the past several months, Orion Township has been encouraging its residents to visit its website to provide input on the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. The online part of the process has come to an end, but residents are still encouraged to submit their ideas and comments. On Wednesday, October 16th, residents were invited to the Orion Center for an informal gathering to share ideas. Several park maps were posted throughout the meeting room, and visitors were encouraged to post their ideas for park improvements that could get implemented over the next 5 years. Public feedback will help the township develop its 5-year master plan.
And the master plan is really important to us being able to get Department of Natural Resources grant funding for any of the types of park improvements that we'd like to see happen. So it might be something that we could do ball field lights, or we might do walking trail enhancements from the Orion Center over to the Pollyant Trail. There's a variety of things that we can do, trailhead, just all kinds of improvements. So it could be athletic fields. So we're just looking at different things that we can do to improve our park property.
The Department of Natural Resources requires that every community have a 5-year update. So this is part of their effort, If the plan is done, then it will make Orion Township grant eligible, but it will also provide a blueprint for long-range improvements for the recreation program.
For this year, the Township Board budgeted about $300,000 for park improvements. I'm not saying that every year we're going to budget $300,000 for park improvements, but that might be a good benchmark to use for right now. So essentially, this is going to give us our priority list of what projects are we going to work on based on what we hear our residents want. So as far as the grant dollar and the percentage breakdown, we haven't received a lot of grants in recent history. I'm really pushing our staff to go after grant dollars, so hopefully we'll ramp that up and we'll be able to, obviously the more grant dollars we bring in, the more projects we can do on this list that will eventually be generated through this entire process.
The township will continue gathering input over the next several months, and a steering committee will present its findings to the Township Board early next year. It's not too late to voice your concerns. Send an email to Lisa Sokol or Orion Township Supervisor Chris Barnett with a list of your suggestions. Their contact info can be found on the website oriontownship.org. Over the past year, Canterbury Village has evolved from a quaint shopping destination to a major tourist destination with festival events taking place almost every weekend. Judging from the crowds at Blues Fest, Elvis Fest, and Pet Palooza, more and more people seem to be discovering this gem in Orion Township. Recently, Canterbury Village hosted one of its biggest events of the year, and ONTV's Kayla Brandon was there.
People came for the beer, but they stayed for the experience. In its second year, Michigan Brewers Oktoberfest underwent a few changes, but people really seem to be enjoying what they see and taste.
On Saturday, October 5th, visitors were able to sample over 100 varieties of craft beer and ciders, as well as special editions of beer provided by various breweries. Throughout the new layout, there was music, food, games, and even some family-friendly fun. Things kicked off with the ceremonial tapping of the keg, provided by Rochester Mills Brewery.
There you go. All right. Our Oktoberfest is our fall release. Every year we sell truckloads of it all around statewide, and we actually just started distributing in Ohio too. So that one's our big seller for this time of the year, and then we'll get into our Lazy Days release, which is a great amber lager, and then we'll move into some more winter beers, and we've got a great milkshake stout, so we got a lot of fun beers.
Given the honor of swinging the ceremonial mallet was radio personality Scott the Gator Anderson from 97.1 The Ticket, who told us what he looks for in a beer.
Well, I'm not the biggest fan of the higher alcohol content beers, because I like to put beers in two categories. You got your long haul beers and your short haul beers. The long haul beers are the ones that you can just enjoy all evening long, if you will. And the short haul ones are the ones that taste really good, but more than one, it's going to be too much. So to find different flavors, I like how they try different flavors. Some beers will throw in, whether you get the pumpkin ales. I love the pumpkin ales. Apricot is like a new thing. Magic Hat No. 9 does an apricot. It's great. I just like the different kinds and different styles. It's really kind of cool.
Although Canterbury Village's Sea Pub has hosted an Oktoberfest event for 10 years, it's only the second time the village has joined forces with Kroger and CBS Radio to host the Michigan Brewers Oktoberfest. Owner Keith Aldridge told us his staff has been planning this event for about 6 months, and visitors experienced some major changes.
Well, year two, obviously right over your shoulder, we were in the field last year. Kind of a nice atmosphere, but a little bit stale. So this year, with obviously the ambiance of Canterbury Village, we moved it down into the village part, into the shopping, and it's just a much better setting. Actually, it's probably one of the best settings that I've been to for a beer festival, and I've been to quite a few of them, so it's kind of nice.
Working with Keith and the folks at Canterbury Village is just awesome. I mean to tell you, they bend over backwards for every person that's here representing their company this year. I've watched Keith work with them, and it's just, you know, Canterbury is just, in my opinion, tops, the very tops to work with.
As we wandered through the event, we were able to speak to some of the vendors and sample some of their products.
Great location, great vibe, great feel, and just look at it. I mean, it's beautiful, the weather's breaking, and it's great.
What have people been saying about the different kind of beers you guys have here today?
Really impressed with the Tongue Tied because it's not like nothing they've ever had before. Basil and lemongrass, kind of unique to beer. They get their aroma, the basil's obviously really strong, and you get that little lemon hint from the lemongrass. So that's been probably the biggest hit with Blue Moon today.
All right, here goes nothing. Cheers.
Cheers.
That is delicious.
Now imagine that with a spicy Thai dish.
Oh yeah, I could totally taste what you were talking about earlier too.
Awesome.
If you don't like it, you come back and try the other one. Yeah, you can always have more.
What kind of beers do you guys distribute?
Oh gosh, we have a variety. We just announced Green Flash. It came to us this past week from San Diego, California. We've got Oscar Blues out of Colorado. We've got Magic Hat from Vermont. We've got a wide variety of craft beers here today.
All right, so what is this that we're trying?
This is the Oscar Blues 1050.
Okay, and this is supposed to be the,
This is the chocolatey one.
Chocolate and beer? What a
Yes.
great combination.
Very much so.
Do you have some too? All right, perfect. Cheers.
Cheers.
That is delicious. Chocolate and beer.
Not something you would think of, but it actually has a very nice combination. It's very smooth. It's actually perfect for this time of year.
With the architecture of the buildings and the beautiful trees and the landscaping, it's really a lovely setting for events like this. And I have heard from some customers that they love the atmosphere of it.
In Orion Township, this is Kayla Brandon reporting for ONTV News.
Thanks, Kayla. As Halloween quickly approaches, one's thoughts may turn to the spooky and the paranormal, but for one local organization, ghost hunting is a year-long occupation. Recently, the Motor City Ghost Hunters hosted a presentation in Orion Township, and ONTV's Joe Johnson sat in.
On Tuesday, October 8th, representatives of the Motor City Ghost Hunters invited paranormal enthusiasts to the Orion Township Public Library, where they shared their findings from a recent investigation at Canterbury Village in Orion Township. On display were various tools of the trade, ranging from expensive electronics to a simple flashlight. Lead investigator Tim Woolworth presented video and audio evidence gathered at Canterbury Village back in March. He told us that on a scale from 1 to 10, the activity they experienced rated a 9.5.
We have a lot of EVP evidence. We have great video evidence that showed our investigation technique and flashlights. A little girl named Sarah was just communicating with us all night long. It was amazing.
Motor City Ghost Hunters was founded in 2006 by John McCormick, along with a small group of friends. Today, their numbers have grown to over 30, with members offering a wide range of special skills that come in handy during investigations. He told us there is no shortage of locations in the Metro Detroit area offering a paranormal experience.
A lot of times we're contacted by locations or by property owners because there's activity going on within their building and they don't know what's going on. Sometimes there's people that are, for example, Canterbury, they're frightened in their shops and they don't know what the activity is. When we come in, we try to set their mind at ease and let them know that most of the time there's absolutely nothing to be afraid of, it's just people haven't passed on.
Following an investigation, team members sort through hours and hours of audio and video, looking for anything that will either verify or debunk a claim of paranormal activity. Evidence is then presented to a client, which can oftentimes be open to interpretation.
A lot of times when we go out to a location, we're catching images sometimes that are lost in time. Sometimes they replay themselves over and over and over. And sometimes it's an interactive spirit that's very intelligent and they can answer our actual questions. So there's different types of spirits and we encounter them at different locations. We all have questions about what there is, what is life after death? Is there life after death? We all want to know what happens when we die, and I think doing this brings me a little closer to an understanding I can accept.
In Orion Township, this is Joe Johnson reporting for ONTV News.
Last week, Lake Orion High School celebrated homecoming with numerous activities, kicking off with a parade.
Lake Orion High School homecoming festivities kicked off on Sunday, October 6th in downtown Lake Orion with the annual homecoming parade. Despite the gloomy weather, residents lined the streets of downtown as modern sports cars as well as some classic cars passed by carrying some important passengers. Starting off the parade was this year's Grand Marshal Allison Stanley, a 5th grader from Carpenter Elementary. She has recently earned the title of Michigan Goodwill Ambassador for the Muscular Dystrophy Association. Also traveling along the parade route were representatives from the local schools, sports teams, marching bands, and many other prominent organizations from the area. As the title suggests, last year's King and Queen, Andre Bonneville and Regan Moran, returned home to make an appearance at the parade. The festivities continued on Thursday, October 10th at Dragon Stadium as the junior and senior girls face each other in the annual Powder Puff football game. Organized by the Leadership Development Workshop and Athletic Department, this annual event has been a staple of homecoming week for years. While most students were busy finalizing plans for homecoming, the nearly 200 girls participating in the game practiced after school for 3 straight days. The seniors started off strong, scoring 2 unanswered touchdowns before the juniors could even get on the board. The juniors fought back, however, scoring at will, taking a lead into halftime. Both teams were evenly matched, trading scores throughout the game. Late in the fourth, the seniors took a 1-touchdown lead. It looked like it might be over, but the juniors struck quickly, scoring a touchdown, needing only an extra point to tie things up. However, the juniors had a different plan, deciding to go for a 2-point conversion for the win. They successfully converted the attempt, leading to a 36-35 victory. This was the first time the juniors had won in a few years, and it was the highest scoring game in Lake Orion Powder Puff history.
Homecoming week culminated on Friday with the varsity football game between the Dragons and the Pontiac Phoenix, where a new king and queen were crowned during halftime. ONTV's Chris Arita brings us these highlights.
A rowdy crowd filled the stands at Dragon Stadium on Friday, October 11th, when the 6-1 Dragons hosted the winless Phoenix team. It turned out to be a lopsided affair as the Dragons put up 4 touchdowns in the first quarter alone. Dominic Giovinazzo got the party started on this 70-yard touchdown scamper to give his team an early 7-0 lead. Following a Phoenix fumble that was recovered by the Dragons on the 48-yard line, quarterback Connor Grant finds Corey Esther, who was tackled at the 15. Just a few plays later, Grant connects with Zach Green, who powers his way into the end zone for a 2-touchdown lead. Pontiac struggled to move the football in the first quarter, and following a turnover on downs, Giovinazzo takes the ball right up the middle for a 17-yard touchdown, his second of the game. Before the first quarter could expire, the Dragons once again moved the ball down the field. Here, Josh Bays snags a nifty completion to set up another scoring opportunity. This time, Chris Lee goes 10 yards for the 4th Dragons score of the game. Phoenix quarterback Seth Cunningham continued to struggle in the second quarter. His deep pass is picked off by Drew Casey. Casey's 70-yard pick six put the Dragons up 35-0. Later, Matt Krause's 2-yard plunge into the end zone was the team's 6th touchdown of the first half. Lake Orion 42, Pontiac 0. During halftime, Lake Orion's homecoming court was paraded out onto the field. Last year's king and queen Andre Bonneville and Reagan Moran returned to Dragon Stadium to crown the 2013 king and queen. Bonneville placed the crown on the head of Tanner Siebold, and Brianna Anderson was crowned 2013's homecoming queen.
As the new king and queen of Lake Orion High School, please take your place in the convertible as you travel around Dragon Stadium with your new name as the king and queen of Homecoming 2013. We want to thank all of our court members and their parents for the support of the Homecoming production this evening. Please take your time to honor our new king and queen. Forever and always, go Dragons!
Back to the action. Even with the second and third stringers in the game, the Dragons had no problem moving the ball. Here, Justin Pavlicek rips off a 30-yard gain before taking a shot inside the 10. 2 plays later, Zach Serzo takes the handoff outside and turns the corner for another Dragons touchdown. Pontiac finally got on the board in the fourth quarter when Jalen Neely scored on a 5-yard run. But the Dragons came right back with their 8th touchdown of the game when Pavlicek scored on an impressive 28-yard run with just under 6 minutes left in the game. Now, there were a lot of highlights in this game, but the moment that whipped the crowd and the Dragons team into a frenzy happened late in the fourth quarter. With 1:07 left on the clock and the Dragons leading 55-13, Jabari Long was brought in as the running back for the first time all season. The 5'2", 130-pound senior took the handoff and, well, we'll let it play out.
Look at this, look at this! Inside! Hey, how about that? 63 yards out! Touchdown, Jabari Long! Touchdown, Jabari Long. Look at the Lake Orion Dragon bench. They are carrying him off the field. What a great sight, folks. What a great sight. What a great run. 63-yard touchdown run by Jabari Long. His first carry of the season. I don't know how you top that. I really don't.
This is a moment everyone in attendance will never forget, and Jabari has a story he'll be able to tell his grandkids.
Tell us how that felt.
It felt great. As soon as I broke through the line and I started sprinting down the field, it felt like the best thing ever to run like 63 yards and make it all the way.
You fought off some blockers, you secured that football, you kept those feet sure, and that's what they teach you every day in practice, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty. So you were thinking probably when you were running, there's no way these guys are going to catch me. I'm going to score that touchdown, right?
That's exactly what I thought as soon as I made it past the line.
Could you have ever dreamed something like this would happen on homecoming night?
No, not at all.
Pretty special, pretty special.
And then when you come off the field, your teammates take you and they put you on their shoulder and they carry you all the way across the field. Tell us what that felt like.
I don't know, it was just amazing because everyone picked me up and carried me and everyone was just banging my helmet and stuff, and it just felt great.
All that hard work throughout the summer and all year long just paid off in one play, right?
Yep, that's what I've been waiting for.
The final, Lake Orion 62, Pontiac 13. Giovinazzo finished the game with 95 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. The Dragons had 365 yards on the ground and 121 in the air. The win clinched the Dragons' 13th consecutive playoff berth, and they'll travel to Clarkston on Friday to take on the 6-1 Wolves in a divisional matchup. For ONTV Sports, I'm Chris Arita.
Prescription drug abuse is a national epidemic. The new in way to obtain drugs is through parents' or grandparents' medicine chests. Removing prescriptions from your cabinet is the best way to keep drugs out of the hands of our young people. We've got to work together to protect our teens, our seniors, and our environment. Clean out your medicine cabinet today. Please participate in Operation Medicine Cabinet and drop off your unwanted or expired prescriptions at one of our law enforcement drop-off sites in Oakland County. We can't ignore this situation anymore.
Welcome back to ONTV News, and now on to our weekly sports roundup. On Tuesday, October 15th, the number 2 ranked Lady Dragon volleyball team welcomed in their rival, the Clarkston Wolves, for an OAA Red Showdown. Lake Orion came out strong and looked poised to finally take down Clarkston, winners of the last 6 OAA Red titles. Game 1 was tight, but after getting out to a 17-15 lead, Clarkston watched their lead slip away as Lake Orion took Game 1 25-19. It looked like Lake Orion was going to go up 2-0 when they jumped out to an early 18-14 lead, but the Wolves clawed their way back into it, tying Game 2 up at 24 apiece. 2 big mistakes by the Dragons allowed Clarkston to take Game 2. Game 3 belonged solely to Clarkston. Leading from the start, the Wolves took Game 3 with a score of 25-21. Already in trouble, Lake Orion struggled in Game 4, allowing Clarkston to take the game 25-19. With the loss, the Dragons fall to 3-1 in the conference, while the Wolves stay undefeated and improve to 4-0. The Dragons didn't stay down too long, defeating another unbeaten OAA Red rival, the Oxford Wildcats, on Thursday. The Dragons took it in 5 games, improving their conference record to 4-1. Despite the slow start to the season, the Lake Orion boys varsity soccer team hit a hot streak at just the right time. The Dragons upset the Rochester Falcons in the opening round of districts, winning a 4-1. Rochester was decimated by injuries late in the season, and the Dragons were able to take advantage and advance to the district semifinals. In the semifinals, Lake Orion met a familiar foe in the Oxford Wildcats. Playing on a neutral field, the Dragons opened up strong, scoring on a Richard Dahl rebound off a corner kick. Oxford responded quickly with a goal from Travis Samat, putting the shot right past the goalkeeper for the equalizer. Orion would respond, however. Forward A.J. Lively stole the ball in Oxford territory and put a quick one past the Oxford goalkeeper, giving the Dragons a 2-1 lead. Lake Orion would seal the deal in the second half, scoring off another corner kick. Final score: Lake Orion 3, Oxford 1. Lake Orion advances to the district finals on Saturday, where they'll go up against Rochester Adams. ONTV News will bring you the results of that match on our next broadcast. Runners from all over Oakland County converged on Kensington Metro Park for the 54th annual Oakland County Meet. The 7th and 8th grade boys and girls teams competed on Friday, October 4th, while the high school teams took to the course on Saturday, October 5th. All of Lake Orion's middle school teams participated, and with the temperature hovering around 75 degrees, it was a perfect day for racing. The 6th grade racers were invited to the country meet, but were not scored. The 7th and 8th grade racers from Lake Orion did well. Oakview Middle School boys placed 2 runners in the top 25, earning 97 points, and a 3rd place overall team finish. Walden would finish 17th overall, while Scripps finished 23rd. St. Regis finished 1st with 56 points, a dominating performance. 7th and 8th grade girls, Oakview would place 15th overall, with Walden and Scripps finishing 17th and 22nd respectively. Oak Valley would take the top honors with 90 points. That's it for this edition of ONTV News. On behalf of the entire crew, I'm Jessie Agnew. Thanks for watching.